So as a part of continuation of the leishmaniasis, I'll be taking up with the rest of the part of the leishmaniasis, that is cutaneous and mucocutaneous. Okay. So in the last class, we have seen that Leishmania donovani. So this Donovani complex means it is a group of Leishmanian organisms and which are responsible exclusively to cause what? Visceral Leishmaniasis. That means what? They affect the internal organs. So this is the very important point. Then what about this Leishmania donovani? So Leishmania donovani is exclusively responsible for what, students? It is exclusively responsible for visceral leishmaniasis.
Vision.
And what about this Leishmania infantum? The name itself is explanatory over here. Infantum means what? It basically affects the infants. So infants means what? Who are the ones who are less than 1 year of age. So if the infants, if they show the features of the visceral leishmaniasis, then most probably it is caused by what? Leishmania infantum. And in this visceral leishmaniasis, which is the organ most commonly affected? Which organ? It
Spleen.
is
Spleen.
spleen. So spleen is the organ which is most commonly affected, followed by which one? Followed by, very good, excellent answer, followed by
Liver.
liver, and this is followed by which one? Bone marrow. And next it is followed by
Bone
which
marrow.
one? Lymph node. Later it is followed by which one? Lymph node. But do you think in India lymph node involvement is commonly seen? No.
No, ma'am. In
So it
Africa.
is not at all seen, it is seen in the African areas. Then another group of Leishmanian organisms are there. So these are like called as Leishmania tropica, major, mexicana, and Amazonesis. So all of these organisms, they are responsible for causing what? Cutaneous leishmaniasis. Cutaneous leishmaniasis means what? They show the manifestations only on the skin. So these all are responsible for causing cutaneous leishmaniasis. And very deadly one, that is Leishmania brasiliensis. So this particular organism, which we call it as New World leishmaniasis, so this particular organism is most deadliest because it not only involves the skin, it even involves what? Mucous membrane. So especially mucous membrane of the nose and lips and even throat area. So these are all the mucous membranes which it commonly infects, and very severe lesions it will cause. And when it infects the adjacent structures, that may lead to fatal situation also. Very important point is that they occur and they heal, and sometimes they reoccur also. If there is a reoccurrence or recurrence of this same disease, mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, then the lesions are furthermore destructive. So this point is very important. So in which of the following the reoccurrence is like very destructive? It is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, and it is caused by which one? Leishmania brasiliensis. This point is very important. And what is the complication or the sequel of this visceral leishmaniasis? It is post Kala Azar dermal leishmaniasis, that is PKDL. And our government of India is very much focused on this PKDL cases because they are clinically asymptomatic other than some cutaneous manifestations. Next. The leishmaniasis, it is commonly caused by what is the vector for this? The vector is which one? Female sandfly. So the male sandfly, it will serve by sucking the what nectar of the flowers. Whereas a female sandfly, it definitely requires a blood meal. So it has to suck the blood of the human in order to lay the eggs. That is very important. And the old world, it says that it is basically caused by phlebotomine sandfly. And if it is caused by the phlebotomine sandfly, then there will be more of physical manifestation. If it is caused by Lutzmia sandfly, this is also a type of sandfly only. Little bit small variations will be there. So it also falls under the same genus. So in the present world, especially in the American areas, that too especially in the South America. So this particular Lutzmia flies are very common over there. If at all, if they transmit this leishmania, then physical manifestations will be quite less. And what we have seen earlier is that the moment they enter the host, so they will be what thin, slender, flagellated forms, which is the infective form. And once they get into the host, and they will be caught up by what macrophages or the reticuloendothelial cells. Once they get into the macrophages, and if the macrophages are not able to kill them, then what will happen? These flagellated forms they will convert into round aflagellated forms called as amastigote form. And these amastigote form they keep on multiplying by what? Binary fission. Once a cell is fully loaded with these amastigotes, they are ruptured and they are released into the peripheral circulation. And what are these amastigote forms within the macrophages called as? Students, what are they called as?
Healthy bodies.
LD bodies. So this is a very important MCQ question for you. So what are LD bodies? They are nothing but the amastigote forms of the leishmania. So this point you need to remember. And if you are able to visualize this amastigote forms on the under the microscope, then your diagnosis is confirmatory for leishmania. So in which organ these amastigote forms will be like very rich, whether it is spleen, liver, or lymph node or bone marrow, which is the organ that contains very good amount of this hemastogote forms. It is the which one, students? Which is the organ?
Clean.
It is a spleen. So spleen is the one which is rich in this hemastogote forms, and this is followed by liver, and this is followed by the bone marrow. So this is the order you need to go, but we usually don't go ahead with this spleen or liver biopsies because chances of having hemorrhage is very high. So risk is very much high when you try to take the specimens from the spleen or liver. So it is better to go ahead with the bone marrow biopsy. Next, in visceral leishmaniasis, what are the common things we have seen? So this visceral leishmaniasis is commonly seen in the sea coastal areas and especially in the northeastern plains of the India. So which are the areas that are affected in India? That is Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, and parts of the Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra. So these are the areas which are commonly affected by the leishmaniasis. And what are the clinical features of this visceral leishmaniasis? It is high grade fever, then Rayger's chills. Apart from that, there will be splenomegaly, that is massive splenomegaly, which is the biggest, and spleen doesn't function properly. So what will happen? There will be chance of secondary bacterial infection, especially bacterial pneumonia can happen. And if this happens and if it is not properly treated, then the patient may die. So it is one of the possible cause for the death in case of visceral leishmaniasis. And what about the skin color? So how does the skin appear? Skin appears dry, dark and scaly. So why does it appear dark in color? Because of the increased production of melanocytes. So there will be lot and lot of production of the melanocytes and this makes the skin to look darker in color. And liver, very important is that you need to remember that there is no damage to the hepatic cells. So that's why in the last class also I told you the LFT function, liver function test, usually the findings will be normal. So other than some minor variations, otherwise the findings will be what? Normal. And what is the thing infected, affected over there? It is a reticuloendothelial injury will be there. And ultimately the cut section of the liver, how does it appear? It appears nutmeg due to intense congestion. Next. What is the case definition for visceral leishmaniasis as per the World Health Organization? So, for example, if you are working in an endemic area and you want to diagnose or confirm whether it is a case of visceral leishmaniasis or no. So, how do you, what is the definition for that? So, thing is that the person should be from the endemic area. So, that is the reason why I am always stressing you that Bihar is endemic, Uttar Pradesh is endemic, Assam is endemic, because if you know it is an endemic area for leishmaniasis, then your chances to confirm the diagnosis will be very high. So any case coming from the endemic area and with a fever of more than 2 weeks, along with that there should be what? Splenomegaly or weight loss, and the person should not be responding to any treatment given for anti-malarials. So there should not be any response to anti-malarials or any antibiotics. If these things are satisfied, then you can say that the person may be a case of what? Suspected case of visceral leishmaniasis. So what is the case definition, students? A person should be from the endemic area, yes. Then
Yes, ma'am.
followed by there should be
High
fever
grade
of,
fever.
yeah, high grade fever more than 2 weeks. Along with that, there should be organomegaly, especially splenomegaly. Along with that, there should be associated weight loss, anemia, and there should not be any response to anti-malarial drugs or any antibiotics. If this is the case, then fine, the things are done. Then, what is the investigating procedure or diagnostic test? You go ahead if you are working in PHC. What is the test? That is Napier's aldehyde test. So in a PHC, if you are suspecting any case, then you draw the blood and then you check for go ahead with the Napier's aldehyde test. So what you will do? So you will take the blood and you put a drop of the 40% formaldehyde and then you look for jellification and opacification. If you remember my previous class, I think you can recollect all that. So the moment you see a jelly type of appearance and egg white like opacification and opaque color change of the blood, then it is confirmed actually. It is confirmatory, but it is not a specific test. Then once a question has been asked related to this particular point, if the person is visceral leishmaniasis confirmed case, treatment has been given, cure is also seen. But after few years, that is after 2 to 3 years or 5 years, what is the chances of the person to develop PKDL, that is post Kala Azar dermal leishmaniasis? What is the chances? What percentage, students, in India? It is
20%.
20%. This percentage you need to remember. If it is from Africa, then what is the chances? More than 50%. So this numericals you need to remember because once a question has been asked. Now look at this picture. What is this picture? It is a picture which is depicting what? Hypopigmented areas on the skin, and they are nothing but the PKDL manifestation. It is a pleomorphic because initially it appears as what? Papule, then again it will appear as erythematous areas, then later it will appear as what? It will appear as what, students? It will appear as some nodules and later it may appear as some hypopigmented areas. And very important is that whoever develop PKDL, they usually don't go to any physician or nearby doctor because they feel that as such my skin color has changed, but I don't have any fever. I don't have any other problem like weight loss or anemia, nor I'm feeling tired or sick. So, because of all these things, the patient may totally neglect. But these people are very much dangerous to the society because they act as what? Important carriers, because lot and lot of mastocyte forms can be seen on these lesions. So this point is very important. That is the reason why our government of India is very much focused in trying to search for these PKDL cases. So being in India, we should be like very much focused on these PKDL cases. Next, coming to cutaneous leishmaniasis. So what do you understand by the cutaneous leishmaniasis? The word itself is saying only skin is affected, no internal organs are affected. And where do we see the mastocyte forms? These mastocyte forms are seen in the reticuloendothelial cells of the skin. So only it is restricted to the skin. And what is the species of Leishmania responsible for this? It is Leishmania tropica. So Leishmania tropica complex means what? In this Leishmania tropica complex, three variants are there. One is Leishmania tropica, another is Leishmania major, another is Leishmania Ethiopia. Like what do you mean by all these names? Like these are different species that belong to same Leishmania, but they are seen in different geographic areas. So this point you need to remember here. Yes? Are you all clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this is the most common type of the leishmaniasis. So, what do you mean by leishmaniasis? Leishmaniasis is a clinical manifestations of either visceral leishmaniasis or cutaneous leishmaniasis or mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. So, together all these three types we call it as what? Leishmaniasis. So already we have seen in detail about visceral leishmaniasis. Now coming to cutaneous leishmaniasis. Now let us see this map. Again, we should be like very much aware like which regions in India cutaneous leishmaniasis cases are commonly seen. Now students, any of you from Rajasthan over here? Any of you? Bharat, Suchet, Sakshi, Shivani, Swati, Sirisha, anyway from Andhra. So, any of you from Rajasthan? Nobody? So, especially if you see this map, the green dots they indicate that these are all the endemic areas for what? Cutaneous leishmaniasis, and some areas of the Uttar Pradesh and some areas of the Jammu Kashmir and Uttarakhand. So, but especially if the patient is from Rajasthan, especially that is from Bikaner district. So, these are the areas like where lot of cases of cutaneous leishmaniasis can be seen. So if any patient coming from there and if you observe any ulcers on the skin, so maybe you have to think that, and economically also patient is poor. Remember, leishmaniasis is totally related to what? Poverty. This point is very, very important. Next. So some points about the cutaneous leishmaniasis. It is caused by Leishmania tropica, and what is the vector over here? Sandfly. In the sandfly also, what is the species responsible? Phlebotomus sargenti. So this point you need to remember. So Phlebotomus sargenti, and where it is commonly seen, especially in the Rajasthan, if you are talking about India. Otherwise, it is commonly seen where in the North Africa. Look at this world map. All these red color areas. Can you see this? So these red color areas, it is nothing but the north part of Africa and also parts of the Middle East. So especially Iran, Iraq. So these areas are also very much endemic for this cutaneous leishmaniasis. And the wars that happen in the Iran, Iraq and all. So what happens, these wars are the areas or these are the periods where lot and lot of cases of the cutaneous leishmaniasis cases were reported. Why students? Why war is one of the reason for the appearance of the leishmaniasis cases. Why wars are like linked to leishmaniasis? How they are linked? Bharat, Suchet, Sirisha, Sakshi, Shivani,
Economic
Swati.
destabilization.
Tell me. Yes, yes, Sakshi,
Economic
tell me. Huh.
leads to poverty.
Yeah, very good. So what happens because of war? What will happen? There will be lot of destruction. Yes, lot of destruction will happen, and this destruction will lead to what? Lot of garbage formation, and along with that there will be humus formation. So, and along with that, what will happen? The temperature also will become warm. It will also become what? Warm. So all these conditions they favor the growth of what? They favor the growth or the breeding of what? Sand flies. They favor the breeding of sand flies. Now, one point I want to tell you is that this is the reason why global warming is very much important for us, not only for sandfly, mosquito, and all. All these arthropods they like grow vigorously in a warm climate. In a warm climate, so war is the zone which creates lot of debris, and that also create lot of what warm temperature, and this particular environment favors the growth of these vectors, especially mosquitoes and sandfly. And that is the reason why Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, these are the areas very much favorable for the growth of sandflies, because geographically there is a warm temperature, and economically lot of crowding is there, and people are also not maintaining good hygiene, and government is also not focused on the hygienic development, and all these things they favor the growth of what? Sandflies, right? Then, Leishmania ethiopia, the name itself is indicating it is commonly seen in the Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, all these African areas. So there we can see this Leishmania ethiopia species. And Leishmania major, it is again commonly seen in the Middle East. So somewhere in the Middle East it is seen, Middle East, and also in the India. So these points from like epidemiology point of view, we need to remember all this. Now, what is the disease caused by this Leishmania tropica complex? So, the cutaneous leishmaniasis, what is the other name? Oriental sores. So, why it is called as oriental sore, students? Sore means what? It is a ulcer. Sore means what? It is a ulcer. Then, what is the meaning of the word oriental? Students, Swati, Suchet, Sakshi, Shivani, others, Sirisha, Bharat, anybody? So Oriental means during the British time, during the British rule of the world, they used to call the East Asia. Eastern part of the Asia was known by the name Orienta. It is called as what? Orienta. So the East Asia. Now in this East Asia, lot of these cutaneous lesions were seen. That's why they are called as what? Oriental sores. And they are also called as what? Delhi evil or Delhi boil or Aleppo boil. Why do you call it as Aleppo? Students, again it is a place in Syria. So again in that geographic region we see these particular lesions and they look like a boil or they look like ulcers. So these are all the names given to the same cutaneous manifestation, but it is linked to the geographic association. So Baghdad button. So what is the organism responsible? Leishmania tropica. And what is the incubation period? 2 to 8 weeks. And what are the areas affected? It is the face and the hands. Students, one point I want to inform you is that this leishmania, it always loves to reside in the colder regions of the body. In the cold regions of the body. So which are the cold regions of the body for cutaneous leishmaniasis? Which are the cold regions? That is the extremities, hands, face area, so or the feet. So these are all the areas where this particular leishmania cutaneous manifestations can be seen. Yes, and how do they appear? They appear as a painless papule or they may appear as a nodules and later they may ulcerate. And very important is that once they heal, then they don't disappear like that. They lead to what? Scarring. And this scarring, it literally disturbs the patient psychologically. And this may be one of the post healing also, the patient may not get confidence throughout the lifetime. So what is the possible complication of cutaneous leishmaniasis? Students, what is a complication? It is the scarring. So scarring is a complication of cutaneous leishmaniasis. Then what do you mean by satellite lesions? Can you look at this picture? Center, there is a crust formation. If the crust is gone, ulcer can be seen and peripheral erythematous area. And can you see surrounding or nearby these small, small lesions are seen? So these are called as what? Satellite lesions. So the cutaneous leishmaniasis, it can even be presented as satellite lesions. And if at all satellite lesions are there, then probably it is caused by Leishmania major or Leishmania tropica. So these are the two organisms which can cause satellite lesions. Next, coming to India. In India, what we see students, we see which one? Cutaneous leishmaniasis. And in India, two variants are seen. One is dry type, another is wet cutaneous leishmaniasis. Yes. So what is this dry cutaneous leishmaniasis? So dry means what? Here the lesion, can you see here? There is no discharge coming out from there, no purulent discharge. The lesion looks absolutely dry, but ulceration can be seen. Yes, and look at the clinical presentation. The edges are raised. Okay, this point is very important, and they are indurated margins, very hard margins, raised edges, central ulceration, or sometimes you can see the crust over here. So this is what the clinical manifestation, and they may be present as a single ulcer or multiple ulcer. So this is also a very important point. And it is caused by which one? Leishmania tropica. And what is the area? Like in India, which area it is affected? It is Rajasthan. This point you have to remember. What is the area endemic to this? It is Rajasthan. And what do we call this? It is also called as anthroponotic urban type. What do you mean by anthroponotic cutaneous leishmaniasis or anthroponotic urban type? What do you mean by this? That means what? This type of dry lesion, it is commonly seen in the urban areas. It is commonly seen in the urban areas. Yes? Are you all clear, students?
Yes,
Students?
ma'am.
Yeah, and patient usually has like the lesion usually will be painless, dry, but still you can see the ulceration. And what is the vector over here? Phlebotomous surgentis. So this point is very important. And who are commonly affected? Children. So children are most commonly affected, and very important is that dogs are the reservoirs. That is canine leishmaniasis. Look at the dog over here. So if you try to play with the dog, or if you come across already an infected dog, then chances that even we may also get leishmaniasis. So that is the reason why we say that be careful with the pets. So what is the reservoir for the urban type of leishmaniasis, students? What is the reservoir? It is the dogs. And it usually begins as a papule and later it will ulcerate over the weeks. And very important is that there will be lymphatic spread before the skin lesion. So before the skin lesion appears, there will be what? Lymphadenopathy will be there. So patient nearby lymph node, it will be enlarged, and later the skin lesions can be seen. And it will heal by what? Scar formation. Any cutaneous leishmaniasis, what will happen? Scar formation is commonly seen. Next. The second type of cutaneous leishmaniasis seen in India is which one? It is a rural type, or it is also called as moist ulcers. It is also called as what? Zoonotic rural or zoonotic cutaneous leishmaniasis. Why zoonotic, students? Here, what is the reservoir over here? Look at this organism. What is the
Ma'am.
reservoir? It is a rat. It is a locally prevalent rodent in the Rajasthan area, so which is commonly called as what? Jirt. So this particular rat. So these rats, if they are commonly prevalent, then chances that yes, we may get this particular cutaneous leishmaniasis because they act as a reservoir. And if the sandfly comes and if it bites this rat, infected rat, and then if the sandfly comes and bites the healthy human, then chances that we may get it. And this particular what rural or the zoonotic or the moist ulcers, they are commonly seen in or found along the irrigation canal areas of the Rajasthan. This point is very important. So wherever irrigation canals are there, and that too in the Rajasthan area, so they act as what? Very common areas for these rats and also for the sandflies. So as a public health specialist or the personnel, what we need to do, we need to spray the DDTs, or we need to take proper insecticide measures in this area so that it won't act as a breeding site for what? Sandfly. So we need to be careful. So irrigation canals of the Rajasthan are the risk factors for which one, students? For the cutaneous leishmaniasis or the rural leishmaniasis. And why it is called as moist ulcers? Look at the ulcer over here. Some purulent discharge is there. So that is the reason we call it as what? Moist ulcers. Apart from that, the margins are raised and they are indurated. And very important is the most commonly they show satellite lesions. What do you mean by satellite lesions, students? They are nothing but surrounding the main lesion, small minor lesions can be seen. That is what we call it as what? Satellite lesions. So dogs are reservoirs for which one? Urban or rural, students?
Urban.
Urban. And rats are reservoirs for what? Rural thing.
Rural.
And irrigation canals are the risk zones for which one? Again, rural or the moist
Rural.
cutaneous leishmaniasis. Apart from that, there will be varied clinical spectrum of the cutaneous leishmaniasis. Like apart from the previous things what we have seen, other ways how it can manifest. One is sporotrichoid spread of cutaneous leishmaniasis. Sporotrichoid means what? Like for example, here look at this picture. One lesion is there, and imagine this is a long axis of the skin. So new lesions they do appear only in the long axis of the skin. So this type of clinical presentation, we call it as what? Sporotrichoid spread of cutaneous leishmaniasis. There is one more presentation that is called as volcano-like nodular cutaneous leishmaniasis. Volcano-like means what? Look at this volcano picture. Center is what? Reddish in color, and surrounding it is raised over here. So look at this picture. Center reddened area, and surrounding there is a raised inflamed area. So this type of clinical presentation is called as what, students? Volcano-like nodular cutaneous leishmaniasis. Another variant is what? Iceberg-like nodular cutaneous leishmaniasis. What do you mean by this iceberg, students? So iceberg phenomenon, if you remember in the beginning chapters of the community medicine, so iceberg phenomenon. So what is that? So only the tip, small portion can be seen, and once you remove this crust, what can be seen? A huge necrotic area can be present. So this type of clinical presentation is called as what? Iceberg-like nodular cutaneous leishmaniasis. Am I audible to everyone, students? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
There is one more clinical variant of this cutaneous leishmaniasis, that is leishmaniasis recidivans, that is LR. Very important MCQ question. So what is this leishmaniasis recidivans? It means that in the center, old lesion will be there and it will be showing the signs of what? Healing. And in the periphery, what will happen? In the periphery, what will be there? The new lesions will be there. So it is called as what? Leishmaniasis recidivans. This point is very important. And it is caused by which one? Leishmania tropica. So this particular what species is responsible for this? And here cell-mediated immunity is perfect or intact. This point is very important. So that is the reason why we can get a positive skin test. So if you remember the previous class, what is the skin test name called for leishmaniasis? What is the name? It is Montenegro skin test. So this particular skin test will be positive over here. Whereas this skin test will be positive in visceral leishmaniasis or no? It will be negative. This point you need to remember. So it is positive in case of cutaneous leishmaniasis. And very important is that if you see this leishmaniasis recidivans, then if you try to take the biopsy, especially from the peripheral areas, then the parasite load will be very less. So there will be very less amount of the parasites that can be seen in this lesion. And it is commonly seen in which geographic area? In the Iran and Iraq. So Leishmania recidivans is commonly seen in the Iran and Iraq people, and here center old lesions and periphery new lesions. And here cell-mediated immunity is what? It is intact. That is the reason why we can see a positive skin test. Next, there is another type of cutaneous leishmaniasis that is called as diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis. Look at the picture over here. Diffuse means what? Everywhere some papule, nodule, some pleomorphic presentations are seen. So this is called as what? Diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis. And it is very rare. And why it happens? It is because of the lack of cell-mediated immunity. So our body immune system is not showing any response to the leishmania over here. And because of this, what is happening? The leishmania is like vigorously showing the cutaneous manifestation. Since there is a lack of cell-mediated immunity, now whether the skin test will be positive or negative, students?
Negative.
It will be definitely
Ne-
negative because our immune system is itself has become useless. It is not functioning. So definitely whatever the thing antigen you inject intradermally, it won't get reacted to any antibody over there. So skin test will be what? It will be negative. So for example, there is a cutaneous leishmaniasis and skin test is negative, and there is a like everywhere it is there, then probably it is a case of what? Diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis. Yes. Then it is caused by which one? It is caused by Leishmania ethiopia, and in the present world, that is currently it is caused by Leishmania mexicana, Leishmania amausensis. This point you have to remember. So diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis means question can be asked. Is it caused by Leishmania tropica or is it caused by Leishmania mexicana? Which one, students? It is caused by Leishmania mexicana. This point you have to remember. Leishmania tropica, it will cause which one? All our urban or rural type, wet or moist. So whatever in India we see, it is all caused by which one? Leishmania tropica. And how does it appears? Like it usually appears scaly, and very important is that it is not ulcerated. In previous things, what you have seen, students, center some ulceration you have seen, right? some necrotic slough you have seen, but here usually it is not ulcerated and we can see nodules or papules, and it is chronic and it is painless. And very important is that loads and loads of parasites can be present. What loads and loads of parasite can be present? And they heal spontaneously or they may last long. It is like left to the body defense response, and they respond very poorly to the treatment. Even if we give the treatment, they respond very poorly to the treatment, right? Students, then how do you differentiate this particular diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis from the PKDL, that is post-Kala-Azar dermal leishmaniasis? How do you differentiate between these two? Students, there also, what is the thing over there? Huh. So the thing is that in PKDL, what will happen? The skin test will be positive, whereas here it will be negative. And usually the patient will give a history of what? Previous history of visceral leishmaniasis. Maybe few years back I had a like organomegaly, fever. So all that history will be given by the patient. So here no such history will be there with the patient. This point you need to remember. Next, Chiclero ulcer. What do you mean by this Chiclero ulcer, students? Chiclero ulcer. What is this ulcer? So look at the ear, external ear. In the pinna, what happens? There will be like what necrotic or ulcerated, inflamed area can be seen, and it is commonly seen in which people? People who are working in the rubber plantation. So these are the rubber trees. So rubber like producing trees. So what happens like chiclets, you remember? Chiclets, the chewing gum. Students,
Yes, ma'am.
chiclets. Are you all aware of the chiclets chewing gum? Am I audible to everyone or no? Or any internet disconnectivity?
Yes, ma'am.
Boss, I'm audible.
Okay. So what is the thing is that in the Mexico, there will be in the Mexico, what happens in the Mexican forest, there will be rubber trees, they'll be grown, and from these rubber trees, there will be extract that will be collected. They are called as what? Chiclero. The extracts are called as what? Chiclero. And those extracts, they are used for what? Producing the chewing gum that is called as chiclets. In the market, chiclets chewing gum will be there. So from where do we get it? It is we get it from what? Mexico. So people who work in the rubber plantation of especially of the chicle plant, so they usually presented with this what cutaneous manifestation, especially on the external ear, these type of ulcerated areas. So this we call it as what? Chiclero ulcer. Later, when the specimen is taken and microscopically it is seen, then emastigote forms were visualized. So it was a confirmatory for what? Leishmaniasis. So it is one of the variant of or the presentation of this cutaneous leishmaniasis. And they are usually seen as a single painless lesions of the ear causing destruction of the cartilage. And they do heal spontaneously within 6 months, but with the scar formation. And which is the organism responsible? Leishmania mexicana and Leishmania tropica. So this point you need to remember it. Are you all clear, students? What is a Chiclero ulcer? Yes, chicle plant. That is rubber tree. The workers who are working there, so in their external ear, these type of ulcers are seen. Next, what is the treatment for this cutaneous leishmaniasis? How do we treat them? So we give what? Antimonial components, that is pentostam 20 milligrams per kg body weight for 10 days intravenously. Otherwise, we can give intralesional pentavalent antimonals, or we can go ahead with the cryosurgery or curettage can be done. Then another type of the leishmaniasis, that is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. It is also called as what? Espundia. What is the other name, students? It is also called as what? Espundia. Now it is caused by which one? Leishmania brasiliensis. This name you have to remember it. It is caused by Leishmania brasiliensis. Nearly 1 to 3% of the cutaneous leishmaniasis cases, they later progress or develop into mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. That means what? From the skin, they metastasize to the mucous membranes of the nose, pharynx, buccal mucosa, and even to the laryngeal mucosa. And what are the symptoms for this mucocutaneous leishmaniasis? The patient may present with the nasal stuffiness or erythema, or there may be mucopurulent discharge from the mouth, nose, or the affected area. What is the drug of choice for this? Miltefosine. And one more point you have to remember here, if it involves the mucous membrane of the cheek or the lips or the nose, then what will happen? There will be swollen upper lip. Can you look at the picture over here? The entire upper lip is destructed. So there will be swollen upper lip and buccal mucosa, buccal pad of fat, everything is lost. There will be pharyngeal mucous membrane involvement, laryngeal mucus also involved. So there will be what? Voice changes will be there, difficulty in speaking and swallowing, and there will be ulcerative lesions of the soft palate. Can you see here, students? Can you visualize the picture over here, Swati, Sirisha? So there will be ulcerative lesions of the soft palate, and ultimately it may lead to the palatal perforation, which we call it as what? Escomel cross. So whenever there is a palate involvement and if there is a perforation leading to what? Naso-oral communication, then we call it as what? Escomel cross. So some cross type of communication you can see. And if at all there is a nasal septum involvement, can you look at the patient? Total destruction of the nasal septum. So there will be collapse of the nose, and lip collapse also will be there, which we call it as what? Tapir nose, which we call it as what? Tapir. What do you mean by tapir, students? If you remember the pig, how does a pig nose looks like? How does the nose of the pig? So the same way, this particular nose also it looks like, and that pig we call it as what? Tapir. So there is one animal called as tapir. So once the nose and the nasal septum is affected, then definitely it looks the nose of that particular animal, that is tapir. That's why it is called as what? Tapir nose. Yes. Next. Let us see some of the MCQs related to the leishmaniasis. Shall we start with the MCQ, students? Some questions let us discuss. Students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now state true or false. Look at the question here. To diagnose cutaneous leishmaniasis, a biopsy is better taken from the base of the ulcer. Now he is asking whether this statement is true or false. What is the answer, students? To confirm the diagnosis of the cutaneous leishmaniasis, should we take a biopsy from the center of the lesion or from the periphery? From where should we take?
Periphery.
Sakshi, Suchet, Siricha,
Ma'am,
Shivani. Yeah, from the center, what is there? Nothing is there. Only necrotic dead tissue is there. So periphery, lot of multiplying mastocyte forms will be present, right? So the punch biopsy should be taken from where? From the periphery of the lesion. Now the question is asked what? Should from the base of the ulcer, should we take the biopsy? It is a wrong statement, right? So the statement is what? False. Yes, Sirisha, do you agree with this answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Let us see the second question. RK39 dipstick kit was found to be positive. The treatment of choice. So RK39, that is recombinant 39 protein. So like of the, it is a like a immunochromatographic test. In the previous class, I have shown you that. So it is a rapid diagnostic test for leishmaniasis. What will happen? Test control will be there. So a slide will be there. So what will happen? So we put the patient sample. Then if you get a positive chromatic or the color change in the line, so it is a positive for what? Leishmaniasis, that is visceral leishmaniasis. So RK39 test is positive means what? Within 10 minutes we can get the results. So if this test is positive, then it is a confirmed case of what? Visceral leishmaniasis. So what is the drug of choice, students? The drug of choice is
A.
amphotericin B. So this should be the answer. So forget about all other options. They are nowhere related to this. treatment of visceral leishmaniasis. So the first one is the answer. Next, which of the following is not a name for leishmaniasis? So we know that leishmaniasis has got different names, right? It's also called as what? Kala Azar, that is black fever. It is also called as dum-dum fever because in Kolkata, dum-dum area it was first seen. Then Baghdad boil. So Baghdad boil is a name for which one, students? It is a name for what?
Delhi.
Cutaneous
Cutaneous.
leishmaniasis. Yes. So now in this, which is the wrong answer over here?
Ma'am, B.
Second.
Second.
Delhi Belly, I think it is a movie name, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a wrong. So the rest of the three are the what different names for leishmaniasis. So leishmaniasis is a group of clinical manifestations. It can be either visceral leishmaniasis, cutaneous, or mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. So this point you need to remember. Next, read the question here. A soldier serving in Iraq complains of large, painless sores on his head and face. The soldier has probably come into contact with which of the following vector?
Sandflies.
Sandfly.
Sandfly? All of you agree with this? See, because
Yes,
first
ma'am.
foremost thing, Iraq. Iran and Iraq, what is the thing we can see most commonly over there? Cutaneous
Yes.
leishmaniasis is more common over there. And second thing, soldier. War area means what? It is a very good breeding site for what? Sandflies. Yes? Soldier is present and he is also complaining of the painless sores or the ulcers, especially on the head and neck or the face area. And definitely we can think of what? Sandfly. So the answer is which one? First one. Next. In which of the following countries you do not get infected with leishmania? Now from
Den-
Denmark.
you should know this.
From Denmark.
Spain, huh? Yeah, tell
Denmark.
Suchit. Denmark. Why Denmark?
Ma'am, it
Huh.
doesn't fall in the middle
Yeah, you
tropical.
are very good, excellent answer. Your choice is correct only. So, but you need to know the reason also because Spain, Ethiopia, Middle East, Iraq, all these are Spain is in Europe. So all these are what? The temperature is warm. Temperature is warm. So in this warm areas the sandfly can nicely breed over there, and it is also area where leishmania also can nicely what habitat over there, whereas Denmark is what? Extremely cold area. So we know that the sandfly will never grow in the cold regions of the world, right? So if the option is to be marked, then it should be which one? Denmark. So if they give Antarctica or Arctic area, do you think the sandfly or leishmania can be seen in these areas?
No, ma'am.
Students? No.
No.
So that is the reason why you should be very good with your world map. So look at the world map over here. Where is the Denmark here? Can you see the point over here, students? Denmark.
Yes.
Here it is Spain. So Denmark is what? It is the coldest area. So otherwise, in all these Middle East, Africa, Middle East regions, so India and all, so Pakistan, all these areas are very good for what? Leishmaniasis, Nepal, Bangladesh and all. Right? Next. And in America also, which part of America is affected? Especially the South
Mexico.
America. So this area of America is also what? Endemic area for what? Leishmaniasis. Here, what type of leishmaniasis we can see, students? Mucocutaneous. Remember this. And even cutaneous leishmaniasis. Whereas in these areas, which one? Visceral leishmaniasis. No leishmaniasis in which one? Denmark. Right? So if you go more towards the pole areas, again, no leishmaniasis. Next, protection of leishmaniasis includes how to protect from leishmaniasis. What we should do, students? Is there any vaccine for leishmaniasis? No.
No.
As such, till
Option
date,
four.
yeah. Yes, tell me, students.
Bed nets, ma'am.
Bed
Yes,
nets.
bed nets we can use very good. So it is like some coated bed nets, insecticide coated bed nets. Sunscreen is of no use, so it's a useless thing. Vitamin supplements also, maybe it may improve immunity, but it
Yes.
won't protect us. So the answer is which one? Very good. Use of bed nets. Next, which cells of the body leishmania affects? So we already know which cells it will affect. The first option is, sorry, it is RBC. So does it affect the RBC, students?
Oh, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Malaria, babesia, all these affect what? RBCs. Yes.
RBC.
Whereas macrophages, yes, all our reticuloendothelial cells, fine. So macrophages is a very good place for, they will nicely multiply and it's a favorite place for them. Nerve cells, no. All of the above is also wrong option. So what is the option? You will tick it over here, students.
Macrophages.
Macrophages, excellent answer. Next, espundia is caused by, what do you mean by espundia? It is the other name for what?
Mucocutaneous.
Excellent answer, wonderful actually. So it is the other name for what? Mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, espundia. Yes, and it is caused by which one? No further
Brazil.
thought. It is
Brazil.
caused by, see, espundia means what? Just remember this. It is caused by Leishmania brasiliensis, mucocutaneous, MCL, right? So what is the alphabet before C? It is B. So that is Leishmania brasiliensis and Leishmania chagasi. It is the one which causes what? Visceral. Just a second. ನಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So Leishmania chagasi, it is the one which causes what? Visceral leishmaniasis, right? And Leishmania infantum, again it causes which one? It causes which one, students? Visceral leishmaniasis
Infant.
in infants. And what about Leishmania mexicana? It causes what? It causes cutaneous leishmaniasis. So cutaneous leishmaniasis is caused by Leishmania tropica complex. That is Leishmania tropica, Leishmania mexicana. Mexicana means what? What you have to remember? Chiclero ulcers. Yes, that rubber plantation ulcers, especially on the external ear pinna. Then Leishmania Ethiopia. So these points you need to remember. All these three are responsible to cause what? Which one, students? Cutaneous leishmaniasis. In India, which one is responsible? Leishmania tropica,
Trop-
dry and wet. And which is the geographic area? Rajasthan. Rajasthan means over. A patient from Rajasthan, all these skin lesions, and from economically poor area, then think of what? Cutaneous leishmaniasis. Next. American trypanosomiasis is caused by, I think it's a different question. American trypanosomiasis. It is also called as what?
Chagas
Chagas.
disease.
Excellent. Chagas disease. Because the person Chagas has done a lot of work on this. So it is caused by which one? Chagas, Cruzi, Chagas, all C factor over here. So Bruzi complex, Gambiancy, Rhodiency, all this causes what?
African.
African sleeping.
Sleeping sickness. That is East and West African. Yes, and Cruzi is the one which causes what? American sleeping sickness. And what is the main thing over here? It is a mega disease, right? What you can see? Mega, esophagus,
Colon. Mega.
megacolon. Yes.
Heart.
Then which
Cardiac.
one? Myocarditis.
Huh.
Then meningoencephalitis. All four M's will be there. Megaesophagus, megacolon, myocarditis, and meningoencephalitis. So how many M's will be there? Four M's will be there. And T.
Yes.
rangeri, it is also caused by trypanosoma, but it is a non-pathogenic to humans. So don't worry much about this rangeri and all. Yes. Shall we go to the next MCQ? Next, old world leishmaniasis is caused by. What do you mean by old world and new world, students? Old world means in the olden times, पुराने जमाने में, in the olden times, this particular leishmanial species is responsible to cause this particular disease. Maybe like if you see over a period of time, the organism genetically also it may get mutated and it may present different manifestation, right? Yes or no? Maybe coronavirus today it may be showing in 2020, maybe this manifestation maybe a century later. It may show a different manifestation, we don't know that. So maybe some mutations or some genetic combinations, recombinations may happen, and the organism may be same, but it will show different manifestation. Like in the old world previously the leishmaniasis is caused but little bit minor differences will be there. So in the old world the visceral leishmaniasis is caused by what? Leishmania donovani. Whereas in the new world, the present world, in the current world, it is caused by what? Leishmania tropica and Leishmania infantum. So what is the answer over here? Old world leishmaniasis is caused by, students?
First.
No.
Donovan.
Donovani. Tropica means what? India, remember this. Again, what is this? Cutaneous leishmaniasis, Rajasthan, and again irrigation canals. Just remember Rajasthan for cutaneous leishmaniasis and Tropica. And don't tick Donovani for cutaneous leishmaniasis. If you tick over, you will get a negative mark only. Next. Chronic infection with which of the following hemoflagellate may be associated with megaesophagus and megacolon?
Keep
Look at
on
the
it.
tick
What
over
to?
here. Yeah, which one, students? It's a very straightforward question. Chronic infection, megaesophagus, megacolon. Shall we tick for second one, students? Cruzi, that is Chagas
Yes,
disease.
ma'am.
So that is the right option over here. Fine. Next. Which of the following is more severely affected in Kala Azar? In Dum-Dum fever or Kala Azar, which organ is more severely affected? There will be
Spleen.
organomegaly definitely will. Yes. Who told this one? All of you do agree with this answer? Students?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall
Yes,
we all
ma'am.
opt for this answer? Shivani, Sakshi, Suchet, Swati. I think it is the right answer, perfect answer, no doubt only. Even in the sleep also we should tell what? Spleen only. नींद में भी spleen ही रहना चाहिए. Yes, so spleen is biggest splenomegaly. This point you have to remember. Next, Chiclero ulcer is caused by.
Mexicana.
Excellent answer. It is a wonderful answer. Chiclero ulcer is caused by what? Mexican ulcer. Where do we see this? In the Mexico, rubber plantation workers. So if the patient says that I am working in a rubber plantation chicle plant and I am working in our chiclet manufacturing factory, then over. Maybe it is a chiclero. So which part of the body is affected here? Chiclero ulcer?
Face.
Ma'am, extremities.
Here. Yes, it is a cutaneous leishmaniasis. And Braziliensis is which one?
Mucocutaneous.
Mucocutaneous. Tropicana means again cutaneous leishmaniasis of India. Infantum visceral leishmaniasis. Next. Identify visceral leishmaniasis. Now a picture based question. So many lesions are there. In this, which is a visceral leishmaniasis? Students, first
First.
picture
First one.
or
First.
second picture or third one
Ma'am, first.
or all the
First.
three? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
First one.
So you all feel that this is the first one is the right one. Why, students? Because you only have to give the reasoning now. If you know the concept, it is done actually. Look at the boy. Does the boy look as if he is coming from the look at the dress how he is wearing? A poor clothing, right? It doesn't look as if it is his dress, right? Somebody else's dress he is wearing, right? Look at the dress. So that means what? He is a person who is coming from what? Poverty. So first point. Second thing is what? It is a child. It is a child. Third point. Just a sec. Hello. A class into mathematics. What is the next point, student? It is like, look at the abdomen. So it is like fully what? Swollen over here. Look at the area. Spleen is also enlarged. Liver is also massively, I mean, both the organs are enlarged over here. So over, and look at the ribs over here. The patient also looks what? Weak. The patient also looks what? Weak. Yes. So all these are suggestive of what? Visceral leishmaniasis, right? Students, do you all agree with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what about the second picture? What does this picture is indicating of?
PKDL. Diffuse.
Not PKDL, it is diffuse cutaneous lesion. PKDL means, what is a very important thing is that hypopigmentation. Hypopigmentation. These are not hypopigmentation. Do you think they are looking very dull in color? They are darker in color, right? So it is diffuse, it is everywhere it is present, and they are more of hyperpigmented, you can say, right? So this is a case of diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis. And what about this particular picture? Sandfly
Cutaneous.
bite, their history you have to take it. It is very important. So an insect bite history has been given. Then after that, you can make a diagnosis of what? Cutaneous leishmaniasis. Central necrotic area or crust can be seen, raised edges, indurated borders. So all these are suggestive of what? Cutaneous leishmaniasis. So what is the answer? First one. This is the right one. Next. The distance to which sandflies are restricted from their place of breeding is usually. Now the question is asked related to which one, students? Sandfly. My picture is, I mean, the way how I draw is very bad. So how long the sandfly can fly, students? So it has got a short proboscis. So the organ of feeding, it is very short as compared to that of the mosquito. Yes, and its legs are long, and it is a feathery. Lot of hairs are present on its wings and all over its body, and its size is smaller compared to that of the mosquito. Then this is the area where it lays eggs. Now, do you think how far it can fly? It can't fly very long. So only maximum up to 50 meters it can fly, whereas mosquito can fly for a longer distance. So even sometimes it can hop. Just it can hop from one place to another place, but its flying capacity is very much limited. So this point is very important. So sandfly can hop or it can fly not more than 50 meters. So this point you have to remember. So wherever it lays the eggs, there only it will just complete its life cycle. So it won't fly for a longer distance. So what is the answer over here, students? Which one?
Third.
Third one. Very good. So why it is important, why we should know, because when we try to, I mean, when we spray the insecticide, there is no need to spray the insecticide for a longer distance or higher heights and all, because this fellow doesn't fly for a longer heights or longer distance. So he is like little bit lazy fellow. He is restricted to the limited zone. So if you spray in that limited area, work will be done. Next. What percentage of patients who have recovered from Kala Azar is likely to develop PKDL? That is
Ma'am,
what is
70.
20%.
or 20%. Shall we all agree with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Okay. Now, if the question is asked, like in Africa, what is the percentage of
80%.
PKDL? Then which one will you opt, students?
80.
Excellent. Then your answer should be 80%, because more than 50% is the number we have to remember. So here, which number is more than 50%? Definitely option 4. Next. Which of the following laboratory procedure can be used for diagnosis of Kala Azar at primary health care, PHC. अगर एक केस आया and with all the symptoms, fever is there, what is the case definition, students? What is the case definition? In the beginning slides I showed you. High grade fever, more than 2 weeks fever,
Weight loss.
and there should be organomegaly and no response to
Anti-malaria.
anti-malarials or antibiotics. Then you can suspect the case for what? Visceral leishmaniasis. If that is the case that has come to your PHC, then what test you will recommend? What is the test, students? Look at the picture over here.
Napan aldehyde test.
Excellent answer. What is the name of that aldehyde test?
Napier.
Excellent. Napier's aldehyde test. Why this name? Because it is a place in New Zealand. So there a lot of research work was done and this particular test has been given. And what does this test signify, students? It is a non-specific. It is not specific to this what Kala Azar. But if it is positive, then it is more what strong for Kala Azar. And why there will be what? What will happen? Patients with Kala Azar, there will be lot of immunoglobulins, especially gamma globulins, hypergamma so body will try to overreact for this leishmania. I will produce lot of gamma globulins, so that is a hyper reaction will be there. So that causes what? Hypergamma. So when there are a lot of gamma globulins and when you add 40% formaldehyde, so formalin, then what will happen? It will react with the gamma globulins and it will result in what? Look at the picture over here. An opaque thing, whitish color jellification will happen. So this jellification, opacification reaction, we call it as what? Aldehyde test. If it is positive, then done. A case kya hai? It is a case of what? Kala Azar. Then, so this point you have to remember. So it is a Napier aldehyde test. 1 ml of the serum. To that you have to add a drop of 40% formaldehyde, and then you will observe jellification and opacification from 2 minutes to 24 hours. So after 24 hours, if you don't see any jellification, then it is not a case of what? Leishmaniasis. Next. So this is all about the leishmaniasis. Now let us see what National Kala Azar Elimination Program. So that is National Kala Azar Elimination Program, NKEP. So what is this National Kala Azar Elimination Program? So it is a part of what? National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. This point you have to remember. So it is a centrally sponsored program. It is basically started as a Kala Azar control program. Then in the year 1990, during period of 1990-91, control program was started, and later when the national health policy in the year 2009 or 2002 it was given. So in that policy the Kala Azar elimination goals were set up. So in that policy it has been said that by 2010 at least we need to see that there should be less than one Kala Azar case per 10,000 people in a CHC or block PHC level. So this is a target that was given by this national health policy for the elimination of Kala Azar by 2010. Then we could not achieve it. Then again 2015 also we worked on it. Then still we could not achieve. Then again 2017 also we had given a deadline. Then also we could not achieve this one Kala Azar per 10,000 people. Then again we are now in 2020. Now also we are struggling hard to get this one case of Kala Azar per 10,000. So this is the 4 times failure has happened. Yes. Are you all clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, why I am showing this picture? Look at this. In Bihar, this is what cattle will be grown, especially buffaloes or the cows, and here only the people also they live. Now, this is such a very dirty, unhygienic area, and lot of humus will be present. What? Humus, debris will be present, and look at this mud houses. So very poorly constructed houses. Now these sites And cow dung is also present. So cow dung is a favorite place for what? Breeding of sand flies. Cow dung is a favorite place for what? Breeding of these sand flies. So when such a environment is there, if you go and visit such type of houses in those endemic areas, then chances of what? Getting this visceral leishmaniasis is very high. So what you should do, you need to educate the people. You need to what? You need to educate the people about what? Proper hygiene. When does the sandfly will bite, students? What is the time for the sandfly to bite? In the night, or especially in the evening time, that is in the dusk or in the dawn time. So this point you have to remember. Yes. So in this cow dung areas or in the wall creases, the sandfly will be there, and when these people they sleep in the night time, they will come and they will bite to the people who are there, because it need to have a what? Blood meal. Now in sandfly, male sandfly or female sandfly will bite? Which one?
Female.
Female.
Female sandfly. Yes. What is the scientific name for sandfly?
Flub.
Phlebotomus. Next. Now, as a part of this National Kala Azar Elimination Program, so certain things this program is doing. One is this program has advocated the use of RDK, that is Rapid Diagnostic Kit. So that is what I showed you in the previous class. That is immunochromatographic test. Like you need to take a patient's blood sample, then put it over here. So within 10 minutes, you'll get the result as positive or negative. If you see one test line and one control line, if both the lines appear to be reddish in color, then it is like confirmatory for Kala Azar. Then this program also says that we need to make use of liposomal amphotericin B injection. Yes, that is LAMB injection. It has to be given what? Single dose intravenously 10 milligram per kg body weight. Otherwise, earlier we used to give multiple doses for nearly 28 days. So now the treatment norms have been changed. So single dose intravenously, for 10 days is more than enough as per this National Kala Azar Elimination Program. And very important is that indoor residual spraying, that is IRS. Indoor residual spraying, that is we need to go inside the house and we need to spray the DDT, that is 50% DDT at a dose of 1 gram per meter square. So wherever you spray, at least 1 gram of the DDT should be there per meter square of area on the wall, and also on the cattle shed, and up to a height of what? 6 feet. These norms you need to remember. Yes, students. So what we need to use, students? 50% DDT at a dose of 1 gram per meter square, because this is a very important MCQ question once it has been asked. To eliminate the sand fly. So this particular indoor residual spraying is done to eliminate sand fly or leishmania. To kill which one we are spraying this one? To kill
Sandfly.
sandfly. So what we use? 50% DDT, 1 gram per meter square. And how many times we spray these, students? Twice. In a year, 2 times the government sends a personnel to spray this DDT. So first round will be during the month of February and the March, and second round it will be during the month of May and June, and it varies from region to region. So as per the health officer and the administrative people, so accordingly they will do. But at least how many rounds of spraying should be there, students? 2 rounds, because these are the periods when the sandfly will breed and they'll be more active. And nowadays what happened? The sandflies started developing resistance for this DDT. So an alternative is which one, students? Synthetic pyrethroids. So what is this pyrethroids? We have got organic pyrethroids, right? From chrysanthemum flower, the pyrethroid has been derived. So they are like what? They are like highly sensitive to light, the organic compound which we derive it from the flower. So that pyrethroid, it is what? Very light sensitive. If you expose, it won't sustain for a long time. So synthetically we started preparing pyrethroids, and they are not sensitive to light, so that their shelf life, That means they can be stored for what longer time, and they act as a very good effective in killing the sand flies. So what is the alternative that is recommended? If DDT resistance is seen, what else can be used? Synthetic pyrethroids. Next. In the same program, National Kala-Azar Elimination Program, some financial benefit is given, that is incentive, because not every patient will be like ready to get the treatment, because all these people are what? They are economically poor, right? So if they come for treatment, that is what we need to give IV route of drugs, right? So that means what? They need to have a hospital admission. So if they get admitted to hospital, what will happen? They will be losing their daily wages, so that they won't be ready. So to compensate for that, what government of India has decided, whoever gets the treatment for Kala Azar, per day they will be paid how much, students? 500 rupees. How much they will be paid, students? 500 rupees. Are you all getting the point? Swati, Sirisha, Suchet, Sakshi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So 500 rupees government dega, and if at all it is a case of PKDL, it is very dangerous, because patient usually clinically he may some have hypopigmented areas on the skin, but he will be normally healthy roaming. But there are the like loads and loads of parasite will be there. So we need to actively what search for such cases, and we need to identify. And for this, all these health activists like ASHA workers and all, they'll be working out in identifying them, and we need to make them to agree to get the treatment for that. And if the patient goes for treatment, they'll be paid how much? 2000 rupees. Yes, because if we can't identify these cases, if we try to untreat them, then we can never eliminate this Kala Azar. That's why they pay highest for this PKDL. Now, incentives to Kala Azar activists, that means health people who work on this Kala Azar program, even they should be paid, right? Not only the patient, the health workers also should be paid. So if the health workers like ASHA workers and all, if they are like identifying the patient, and if they get the treatment completely for them, then they will be paid how much? 300 rupees per patient. So it is an incentive for what? ASHA worker. Yes. And if at all the health worker, if they do indoor residual spraying, if they spray DDT or pyrethroid, so one round of spray they will be given how much rupees? 100 rupees. If there are two rounds of spraying, if they have done, then how much they will be paid? 200 rupees. Yes, students, this is all about what? National Kala Azar Elimination Program. Are you all clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so by this, I want to completely wind off the class for what? Leishmaniasis. So, from the community point of view, what all you have to know, I think I have explained everything in detail, right? So, this Kala Azar elimination program, did we achieve the success? Nahi. Even till date, we didn't achieve. What is the target, students? What is the target? What target government has kept? There should be at least one case per 10,000 people. If this is the target we can achieve, then fine. Otherwise, what is the present? At least present, no, nearly 4,000 cases we are getting it. Yes, per year. So it is not a very good thing. So we need to at least reduce this to 1 per 10,000. So if this target is achieved, then we are like achieved with this Kala Azar elimination from India. And one more thing I want to inform here for you people is that in this Kala Azar program, our Indian government has signed an agreement with Bangladesh, Nepal, Nepal. So like these are the adjacent countries with whom we have tied up. So in order to have very good what uh, coordinated efforts. So which all countries we have got the tie-up, students? With Bangladesh and Nepal, right? So, what is the new Kala Azar treatment guidelines? So, the 2016-17 guidelines, these are, this point you have to remember. So, what is the first line of drug here? So, this question can be asked for you, that is LAM. What is LAM, students? it is liposomal amphotericin B, single dose 10 milligrams intravenously. If you remember this one, it is more than enough. Other things, even if you don't remember, it is not a big thing. So otherwise, LAMB is a treatment, that is liposomal amphotericin B. What is the second line, students? Miltefosine capsule plus injection parmomycin. It's a combination therapy. Then for PKDL, what is the treatment? Miltefosine 100 milligram once daily. It is a capsular form. So for 1 week, that is 7 days, we need to give. Yes. So this, if you remember, more than enough. So shall I stop the class here, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So next class I'll take up with the, which one should I take, malaria or should I take with this this one, roundworm, hookworm? Which one should I take?
Malaria, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take up with the malaria next class. I think next Sunday again we will meet. So all of you go back, open your books and
Okay.
just brush up. I think everything will be easy for you. Okay, 7 o'clock there is surgery class. Attend that by Dr. Ramani. She'll be taking on electrolyte imbalances. Fine, students?
Yes, ma'am.